Because 6 months on the radio was all the FCC and his parole officer would allow, this is the Walt Bonetti Podcast. God help us all.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Walt Bonetti Podcast. The first, the inaugural. You're making history. You're being a part of history right here. Over the last couple of months, a lot of people asked me about doing a podcast because, you know, the radio show was 2 hours. It was on during the middle of the day. It was on from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And some people couldn't listen at that time. Some people didn't like the podcast that the radio station had because it was the entire show. And they would have to jump around and listen to a non-updated weathercast and a newscast and things like that, and 14 minutes of commercials and just all kind of things. But now we don't have that. So we don't have those constraints. We're still going to have sponsors, of course, and we're going to have a couple of commercials within the podcast. But what we can do is we can take the best of the radio show and the things that people liked the most and try to bring that to the podcast and do it in a condensed format. And the beauty of the podcast is I can do a daily podcast or a podcast every other day or 3 or 4 podcasts in one day, depending upon what is going on and what we need to talk about. This is a work in progress. I don't know if we're going to stay on YouTube or go to another podcast service or what we're going to do, whether we're going to add video at some point or live streaming or, you know, it's a blank canvas. Right now, we're going to see what we can do technologically and what we can't do and what people want. 2 things that we are working on. We are working on a mechanism so that you can call in and we can do live podcasts at certain times, maybe once a week or twice a week, and get your interaction. And the other thing we're working on is the ability to patch in with other people and do interviews as well. Have access to your questions and comments via either a live stream where you can type in your questions at that point, or whether you can actually call in at the same time. Like I said, it's a blank canvas. We're working on a lot of different things. If you think there's a topic that we should cover, and obviously we're not going to be able to cover everything within a 30-minute podcast, certainly not as much as we did in a 2-hour radio show, send me a note to Walt B Radio, W-A-L-T, B Radio, at gmail.com, or go to our Facebook page, Walt B Space Radio, and just to let us know what you're thinking, what subjects you would like us to cover in more depth. And also, if you'd like to sponsor the podcast, if you're a business owner and you want to reach listeners, certainly send us a note as well, and we'll get back to you, and we'll try to work something out to accommodate you and bring you some new business. The basic format on a daily basis will be I'm going to do a couple of quick stories, some stories that may have slipped under the radar, and then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to touch on a couple or one big story, and also we're going to do some crime stories. What we're trying to do, like I said, is the best of the radio show in a condensed format, and the topics that I think people liked and people wanted to hear more of. So, with that being said, we're going to start now, if that's okay with everybody. Before we get too far into this, though, I have to mention that the Walt Bonetti Podcast is brought to you by our good friends at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. You've heard me talk about them. You know you've gone there. You need to go back there. They have great food, and it's all made fresh for you, whether you want a calzone, a sandwich, a wrap, a salad, pasta, incredible pasta, or pizza. You know it's in their name. So you know the pizza's great. You can also call them 469-4999, 469-4999, and they'll have your order ready for pickup. Or they will deliver it to your home or your business. Just give them a call, 469-4999. The podcast is also brought to you by our good friends over at Capadonna, 2321 West Esplanade in the Kenner Market Center. Capadonna is great donuts and more. They have breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, breakfast platters, and everything else. Make sure you check them out. You can also call Capadonna ahead of time, 305-4858. They'll have your order ready for pickup as well. And they'll even bring it to your car. They have a special parking place just for people to pull up, and they'll bring your donuts to your car or your breakfast. You can be an office hero. bring in a dozen or two donuts to your office from Capadona. You will thank me later. Trust me, you'll be a hero. Now we will start the show. The National League of Junior Cotillions, I didn't even know that organization existed. Never heard of them before. But they named Saints quarterback Drew Brees number 1 on the list of 10 best-mannered people. The group said Brees was named, quote, for exemplary conduct both on and off the field and outstanding contributions to families in need through the Drew Brees Foundation. Some other notables on the list include Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence, who's playing in the national championship game Monday, the NBA's Steph Curry, and actors Mark Wahlberg and Will Smith. So kudos to Drew Brees. The Pels lost last night at Brooklyn, 126-121. All 5 starters had double figures in points. But again, the bench came up woefully deficient, getting outscored 55-5 by the Nets. 55-5. Anthony Davis had 34 points and a franchise record 26 rebounds. He also became the first player in the NBA with more than 30 points and more than 25 rebounds and 3 blocks since Elvin Hayes did it way back in 1973. Elfrid Payton had 25 points. Julius Randle had 21. Drew Holiday had 20. And like I said, the bench just came up poor. The Pels are now 17-22 and 14th in the Western Conference. They really need to make a trade. They have to make a trade before the trade deadline to get some bench scoring. The Pels are next up Saturday against the team with the worst record in the NBA, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Twisted Sister's Dee Snider will ride in the Crew of Pontchartrain Parade on February 23rd. The theme of this year's parade is Pontchartrain Rocks, and Snider's float is titled Rock and Roll, which kind of makes sense. Snider will even have his own special medallion to throw, so you will need to check that out. A Chinese spacecraft made the first ever landing on the far side of the moon earlier today. The far side of the moon is also known as the dark side of the moon. But I bet you already knew that. Nancy Pelosi was elected again as Speaker of the House as Democrats took official control of the House, and Republicans still maintained control of the U.S. Senate and the presidency. Do you care? Does what happens in Washington, D.C. matter to you? Other than being able to laugh at Nancy Pelosi more often, I think the Democratic Party is making a huge mistake. Nancy Pelosi represents the old way. Old, tired, failed ideas. The Democrats should have appointed a new speaker, a new leader, and come up with a new vision. If we're going to have 2 years of gridlock and Trump fighting, it's not going to help anyone. We need to do better. And Congress certainly needs to do better. There are some milestones today. Today is former State Representative Woody Jenkins and now editor of a weekly newspaper over in Baton Rouge. Woody Jenkins' birthday. So happy birthday to Woody. It's sad to note the passing of 3 familiar faces. The WWE's Mean Gene Okerlund, he died Wednesday at 76. Mean Gene was a WWE Hall of Famer and a mainstay on WWE TV shows for decades. I remember watching him as a kid and him teaming up with Gorilla Monsoon. It was really fun TV. Bob Einstein also died Wednesday, ironically, at 76 as well. He created the character Super Dave Osborne. You remember him? And later co-starred on Curb Your Enthusiasm. He also won an Emmy for writing on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. And more irony, Daryl Dragon, one half of the 70s hit duo The Captain and Tennille, also died Wednesday at 76. He was a keyboard player with the Beach Boys when he met Tony Tennille. Their debut album hit number 1 in 1975 and won a Grammy for Record of the Year. Today, January 3rd, marks the 60th anniversary of the first broadcast of Morgus the Magnificent on local New Orleans television. The original program was called House of Shock. So 60 years ago from Morgus. He's older than me. And later this summer, a 3-day music festival is planned to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. The event will be held August 16th through the 18th and feature musical acts and speakers, including leading futurists and retro tech experts. I don't know what that means, but it sounds pretty cool. Retro tech experts. The names of performers and speakers will be announced soon. A Mississippi man who ordered a $2,000 diamond tennis bracelet for his wife for Christmas was shocked when he opened the package and found 48 diamond bracelets and no receipt or paperwork inside. Dale Dickerson ordered the bracelet online from Jewelry Unlimited in Atlanta. He called the company and arranged to return the excess bracelets. A few days later, then he received another package from Jewelry Unlimited. This one, though, contained a thank you from the company, a pair of diamond earrings for his wife. So it ended well. But 48, how would you like that if you opened up a box, you expected one, and there were 48 diamond tennis bracelets, $200,000 worth of diamonds in a box? He returned it, though, so good for him. And now this from our great sponsors, because I have to eat too, and I have to feed the cats as well. Hi, this is Walt Benetti from my friends over at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, just a little bit north of West Esplanade. The Original Italian Pie of Kenner features great food, and it is always freshly prepared for you when you order using the freshest ingredients possible. No heat lamps here. Not at all. Not like other restaurants. And you can call the Original Italian Pie at 469-4999. That's 469-4999. And they'll have your order ready for pickup or delivery to your home or your office. You can also order online at orderitalianpie.com. That's orderitalianpie.com. Whenever you are hungry, make sure that you think about my friends over at the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard. Call 469-4999. That's 469-4999. And eat some great food. With a name like Coppa Donut, you immediately think, it's just another donut shop. And yeah, Coppa Donut sells great donuts. But, like they say on TV, wait! There's more. Coppa Donut has apple fritters, eclairs, cinnamon twist, cinnamon buns, honey buns, great breakfast, sandwiches, smoothies, breakfast burritos, French toast, waffles. Now, does that sound like just another donut store? I think not. Coppa Donut is open from 5 a.m. to noon Monday through Friday and 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends. Stop by for breakfast on your way to work and grab a couple dozen great donuts for your coworkers. You'll be an office hero. They will be telling stories about the day you brought Coppa Donut donuts to work for months. Trust me. That's Coppa Donut. Great donuts and more. 2321 West Esplanade in the Kenner Market Center. Coppa Donut. Great donuts and a whole lot more.
I need you to know you're the man I want to want.
Walt Benetti.
Here's a couple of items that people are talking about today. Season 2 of Gordon Ramsay's TV show, 24 Hours to Hell and Back, premiered last night on Fox, and Ramsay redid the trolley stop on St. Charles Avenue. Ramsay tried to make the trolley stop, primarily known for its breakfast fare, into an upscale bistro. Now, Ramsay is no stranger to New Orleans. He previously redid Oceana Grill, which he was sued for twice, and Zeke's, which is now Porter and Luke's over on Metairie Road. While I haven't been to the trolley stop in years, I was intrigued enough to watch the show. As is typical of most of these type of reality shows, Ramsay found the food disgusting, the walk-in cooler repulsive, and chefs serving raw chicken and pork. And don't even get me started on the nachos. But who orders nachos anyway at a diner? I mean, come on now. Social media blasted Ramsay. On Twitter, someone posted, quote, "Ain't nobody going to the trolley stop for a frittata." In all caps. And they're right. I don't know that they needed all caps. But yeah, a frittata. That's not what you typically think of when you think of the trolley stop. Juliana at This NOLA Life posted, quote, "They've yet to show a damn thing that I would eat at the trolley stop. I go for basic breakfast, po' boys, drunk food. It's a diner." And it is. Clifton Harris at Clifton611 posted, quote, "Ain't nobody going to the trolley stop for a gourmet pork chop." Even NOLA.com's Jarvis DeBerry blasted Ramsay, and the deconstructed po' boy DeBerry was served after the restaurant's relaunch. 2 catfish fillets, a couple of tomato slices, a hunk of lettuce, and toasted wheat bread triangles. Deconstructed po' boy without any po' boy bread. Yes, indeed. Now, after the fact, a restaurant manager sent a note to DeBerry saying, "Hey, we just ran out of po' boy bread." But what kind of restaurant runs out of po' boy bread? And if you do, you don't serve po' boys. Not on wheat bread, toasted wheat bread triangles. I mean, come on now. DeBerry wrote, quote, "Not every change counts as progress. Some things don't need updating. I think we can all agree that the po' boy is one that doesn't. And while Jarvis and I don't agree on much, actually, we hardly ever agree, we can agree on that." In November, the trolley stop, after receiving numerous complaints, changed back from Ramsey's abbreviated menu to the former expansive menu of omelets, real po' boys, and more. But at least the interior was updated, and the kitchen is cleaner and has some new equipment. So thanks for coming, Gordon, but we don't need your food. It's not New Orleans. They even brought in Aaron Sanchez to try to tell the chefs, cook New Orleans food. Put your heart and soul into it. New Orleans is a food town. But yeah, glorified pork chops and frittatas, I don't think so. If you had a chance to catch the episode last night, let me know what you thought. Send me a note at waltbradio@gmail.com or go to the Facebook page, Walt B. Space Radio, and let me know what you thought. To me, it seems like every time Gordon Ramsay does a show and goes into a restaurant, he finds the same things. Nasty food, an owner who's disengaged, a mold in the walk-in cooler, and the fact that he made those people eat the moldy cheese. Oh man, that was disgusting. Disgusting. But is that the kind of TV that we really want to watch? Is that entertainment, having Gordon Ramsay do the same thing week after week and embarrass folks on TV? I don't know. But yeah, I did watch it. I don't know if I'll watch it next week. I don't know who it's going to be about, but it won't be about a New Orleans restaurant, so I don't know whether I'm going to watch it or not. We'll see. Now it's time for...
Now, the Walt Bonetti Podcast Dumbass of the Day.
2 Kenner men were arrested after they shot almost 200 rounds in the backyard of a vacant home in Kenner early New Year's Day. William Dunn, 21, and 17-year-old Henry Warner were charged with misdemeanor charges of illegal discharge of firearms. Police found 140 spent 12-gauge shotgun shells and 46 spent 40 caliber shell casings. Every year, authorities warn against shooting firearms into the air. You remember that old line. What goes up must come down. Well, it does, and sometimes it's a bullet, and sometimes it hurts or even kills people. There was a report that these 2 knuckleheads didn't shoot in the air, but fired their guns into the ground. Yeah, that's smart too. The Walt Bonetti Podcast Award for the Dumbasses of the Day go to these 2. Yeah, I know that it's still time and the day is still young, but it will be hard to top these 2. Although I'm sure Jefferson Parish's sexual predator-in-chief Mike Yenny and some others are trying to figure out how they can win this award as well. If you'd like to nominate someone as the dumbass of the day or even the dumbass of the week, send me an email at waltbradio@gmail.com. That's waltbradio@gmail.com. And trust me, we will have more local dumbasses of the day and the week. And now it's time for one of my favorite segments on the radio program, the now defunct radio program, but it still was one of my favorite segments, the Crime Report. Today's crime report begins in St. Petersburg, Florida, where police arrested 40-year-old Daniel Taylor after he reached across a McDonald's restaurant counter, grabbed an employee, and tussled with a 20-year-old employee. Taylor was upset that he had to ask the employee for a straw. A new law took effect January 1st in St. Petersburg that requires customers to ask for a straw. That's right, you have to ask now. They don't just put them out in St. Petersburg. Next year, another law in St. Pete will ban single-use plastic straws altogether. What is this world coming to when we can't use straws? I mean, come on. You have to ask someone. Now, we've seen reports of fights and actual gunfire for people who got the wrong kind of sauce. But a fight over a straw. Come on now. That's a bit ridiculous. Our next crime story takes us all the way to central Vietnam. 6 men were arrested for killing and eating an endangered monkey and live streaming it on Facebook. The monkey killed, a langur monkey, is a leaf-eating primate and one of the most endangered primate species in the world. Not only did these knuckleheads kill an endangered animal, they ate it and they filmed it and put it out on Facebook. What kind of people are these? Who does something like that? Obviously, 6 guys in Vietnam. Well, that does it for the first episode of the Walt Benetti podcast. If you have any suggestions or thoughts or comments, feel free to email me at waltbradio@gmail.com. That's waltbradio@gmail.com. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast because, like I said, we're going to have more, and you don't want to miss out. And if you like the podcast, certainly share it on Facebook, share it on social media. Let your friends know that there is a podcast and we are going to be talking about local issues and issues that the media doesn't normally cover, whether they're national or international or within the state and within the Metro New Orleans area, and certainly within Jefferson Parish, right? You know that. So thanks again for listening. Make sure you support our sponsors, the Original Italian Pie of Kenner, 3600 Williams Boulevard, 469-4999. You can call them. They'll have your order ready for pickup, or they will bring it to your home or your office. And Capadona, 2321 West Esplanade. Their telephone number is 305-4858. They have great donuts and more. They have breakfast and sandwiches as well. Make sure you check them out. And you can call ahead and they'll have your order ready for pickup, 305-4858. You don't have to wait in line. They'll have it ready for you. So please support our sponsors and spread the word. Like we said, if you like the podcast, tell all your friends. If you don't like the podcast, well, we hope you don't have too many friends. Thanks again for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned because, trust me, there's more. And please, go out today and be a blessing. Change someone's life. You live in the greatest country in the world, probably in the history of the world. Every day you can wake up and you can make a difference in your own life and in the lives of other people. So be that difference. Change someone's life. Be a blessing. Thanks.
Walt Benetti.